Hey, welcome back everybody. I'm Lou. This is Metal Lens Reviews. What's up? Hope you're all doing well. So, if this is your first time here, you're checking out my channel, you like what you see, thank you. Please do me that favor of like, comment, subscribe. As I mentioned before, it really helps me grow the channel, spread it to the masses, and of course motivates me to provide you guys more content. Alright, so, this isn't quite a real talk podcast kind of episode. This is just a random kind of like one-on-one, talking session, rant, if you will. Writer's block. That's what I want to talk to you guys about. So I suffer from that, especially recently. I don't know if it's like some underlying condition or short-term memory loss, but like I'll have an idea and then right away I'll compare it to other ideas. Or if I see something I like, whether it be a movie or listen to music for inspiration, then I drift towards that, then I write something too similar. I'll be 4 pages in and I'll change my mind. And let me tell you, writer's block sucks, especially when your, talent or hobby is writing. It's like, oh my god, you put a lot into it because you try to, because, writing takes up time, especially, with me, I have a lot of other stuff going on, so I have to be precise when I write. And you want to incorporate a lot of stuff, but you don't want it to be oversaturated and too much. You want to make sense, especially, if you're in the business of trying to, sell your script or, make something out of it, And a lot of things factor in, the pacing, the location, the era, and, if it's not been done before, which is kind of hard, so you always have to kind of, I don't want to say borrow, but, play off a genre, something that's been done, and kind of take it and twist it and make it your own, or if you're lucky enough to come up with a complete original idea, like where do you start, and, these are things recently, just very, very recently, I've come across, and usually it's like, stems from a lot on my mind. I don't have any deadlines or anything, it's just, I don't know what it is, it's like, you get anxiety, the walls are closing in, and you start to panic, and you want to keep up the momentum, I guess I'm kind of a content creator, in a way, and it's just, I don't know, trying to come up with something from nothing, and just make it sound, and the way people read it, just make it comprehensible. And it's tough, let me tell you, especially recently. And usually what people do is they stop what they're doing, they take their minds off of it. Either they spend time with their family, read a book, watch a movie, listen to music. Some things don't work for everybody as far as a remedy for writer's block. It just, either you have it or you don't. Or if you think you have it, you get that height sense of purpose, and then it comes crashing down, because then you second guess yourself. And these are issues, I guess, in the writers community or whatever. I'm not the best writer. My grammar is horrible, but, I think it's okay. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback so far. I don't let it get to my head because I'm afraid, But, like I said, I like it because it's also, writing is like an escape of reality. I don't have a time machine. I can't go backwards in time or forward in time, even though I like to. So I create universes, much like writers, and incorporate things I know, just to kind of make the process go. I try to make things practical to enough. I don't think audiences today need that much coasting to understand a concept. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That's just the gamble, You're gonna have a smart audience, or is half the audience going to get it, and half the audience isn't going to get it? A lot of questions that pop up. And you just got to hope your story is original enough to reach the masses and wow them. And, hopefully from that, you could build off that. You could build a semi-successful career. And all struggles aside, it could be rewarding, like anything else. Anything else in the art form of this world, work-wise, whether it be creating content and you're successful at that, filming movies, being a cinematographer or a photographer, or writing a book, whatever. Sometimes roadblocks happen, and it's like, what do you do? And sometimes it's going out for a drink or two by yourself or with a company of friends. It still haunts me, that lingering, coming up with a story. I'm way better at, if someone were to give me an idea and build off that, I'm way better at that. If someone says, hey Lou, here's a structure, I need you to create a universe for me, or these are the outlines of the story, can you build on this? Sure. That's usually, because it's like, you feel like a kind of like a mercenary, a hired gun. It's like, all right, cool, I'm going to get this job done. Boom. And it's great. You put a lot of work into it. And I like doing that too. Because I incorporate my style plus whatever, whether it be my friend or a customer or whoever wants a script written, I juice it up, I make it big and, a lot of fluff, and there you go. But, creating my own stuff, I've done a few scripts by myself. Try to sell some of them, I'm not there yet, but hopefully. So it's it's a work in progress, But I feel like something, when you have that gut feeling, you feel like something. What's the old phrase? The light at the end of that tunnel. I feel like there's something about the, break this brick wall that's in front of my eyes, or the creative part of my brain, and start writing some decent stories, and turn them into a great movie, hopefully. And hopefully someone recognizes it, and, one can only hope, Like I said, I'm part of a great team right now, and I'm going to keep doing that and keep building off that, and just, involve myself creatively as much as I can with film and pop culture and entertainment and content creating. And that, with, my normal activities and what I do, hopefully that sparks something again. The well hasn't been completely dry. I have at least a dozen, more than a dozen ideas saved. It's just picking the right one for the right time. And, being too realistic, I feel like takes the fun out of a movie, because it's like, it could happen today, But you want to keep a little bit of realism in your script. You don't want it too far out there, because you might lose a certain audience. So you have to find the balance. And I think I'm good at that. Bringing a little fantasy and reality into the mix and delivering the goods. So that's what I'm going to do. This is like a self-help. I'm telling you guys, because maybe there's someone else out there that's also struggling being creative. They hit a brick wall per se, or writer's block in my case, and sometimes you just gotta step away from the work, take a breather, but don't take it too long. And as far as practice, just like I said, work on other people's projects, ones that you're given or you volunteer for. Listen to movies on commentary, that usually helps a lot, and just see what you could do, to expand your mind, that helps too. So all that, hopefully, I kind of break this, fence that's blocking my, ability to get a conceptual kind of story here. Like I said, all the parts are there. It's just putting it together and, making it work. So, but I do feel like something's close. Something. Hopefully it's a story. But I know something's there creatively, is getting the wheels turning again, and I'm pretty excited. And stay tuned. All right, guys. Thanks for hearing me ramble. This was a complete mess of just me talking and rambling, but I feel like telling the world my, that problem anyway, and hopefully I reach other people. And hey, if you have a remedy for writer's block, let me know, man, in the comments, please. For those who are struggling too, the struggle is real, and hey, look, this is an everyday thing. This happens. Whatever remedy you think would work, go for it. Maybe try something new. Be a little daring sometimes, and see what happens. Because you never know. Sometimes taking a risk could enlighten you and open up a whole door of opportunities. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And like I said, any advice? Hopefully I helped you too. But if there's anything you wanted to add, let me know in the comments. I'm all about it. I'm here for you guys. Alright, thanks again for watching. Peace.